So I wanted to pull up this video. I actually talked to the guy who recorded this video. Cool with us showing it. Rev Nation.
And I was just pretty blown away that they're willing to discount it, $30,000. So here I am at Tesla.
Check out his channel. I'll put a link to the description down below. I want you to notice throughout this video how many of these Cybertrucks are sitting at this Tesla dealership. It's not really a dealership, distribution center, whatever you want to call it. But it hasn't been all that long ago that these things were going crazy. You couldn't get a Cybertruck. I even remember dealers getting their allocation of their Cybertruck. I say allocation, not allocation. They got their order because they bought it straight from Tesla. It's not like they're getting dealership allocations from a manufacturer or anything. They were personally buying these Tesla Cybertrucks and then taking them to auction, and then they were bringing a massive premium because you just couldn't buy these things anywhere. And they were going and they were spending $120,000 on these Cybertrucks, taking them to auction. I remember seeing pictures of them being sold at Manheim for $160,000. And you would see all of these videos pop up on YouTube. These YouTubers getting these Cybertrucks. They were hot, and you just never saw them out on the roads. But right now, we'll see, even around my area, I'm close to Charlotte, not in a massive city, but we're close to one at least. And I see Cybertrucks everywhere now. And here's the dilemma that we're going to see in later footage in this video, as the Cybertrucks are stacking up at this Tesla distribution center, whatever you want to call it, is that okay? Yeah, this was a really hot commodity, but maybe it was a hot commodity for a very small amount of people. And when you get to the place where okay, only the small amount of people want to buy, there's even a subsect of those people that are even able to buy when you're talking about $120,000 Cybertruck. And then on the back end market, when they first came out, because there are so many people that wanted them, or let's not say that there were enough people out there that wanted them, but there wasn't enough supply of these Cybertrucks being put out, that they were bringing this massive premium on the secondary market. But you're not seeing that anymore. In fact, there's another dealer that's on YouTube that recently sold his Cybertruck at an auction, and it's a 100% different story from the $160,000, the almost $60,000 to $40,000 premium that some of these dealers were getting for these Cybertrucks versus what they're bringing right now. And I'll tell you about that in just a little bit. All right, so I wanted to point this out. So Tesla is threatening Cybertruck buyers to take delivery by the end of December, and this video was from December. Otherwise, the company says they will forfeit their 2,500 deposit. So this is very interesting that okay, these orders have been confirmed by Tesla. They have a customer attached to them, and it's not only that they just have inventory sitting at this distribution center. These were actually sold trucks. These were trucks that a customer ordered, prepared online, and dropped their $2,500, and for the promise that Tesla was going to deliver this truck to them, and then they were going to come in and pick it up. And now, because of whatever reason, these consumers, they don't want this truck anymore. And you can see by how many of them are sitting around. All these trucks were going to be ordered and made by Tesla for this particular consumer, and all of them are saying no. And this is just one small distribution center, compared just relative to all of the distribution centers that they have. So I would venture a guess that most of these centers that Tesla has made these trucks for, and for all these consumers that Tesla has made these trucks for, there's probably a very similar story that we're seeing at a lot of these centers across the country, where you're seeing a lot of these orders. Customers aren't picking them up, and so much so that they're forfeiting their 2,500 deposit, because they just don't want this thing, and for good reason too. But we'll talk about that here in just a minute. So we can talk about that for just a minute here, and I want to pull up this guy right here. This is Craig from Flying Wheels, and you can see that he's recently put out some videos. This was from 6 days ago. This was from 8 days ago, where he took his Cybertruck, and I watched some of this, but he took his Cybertruck to the auction. It didn't sell this day, and he talked about how much he paid for his Cybertruck, and he paid, I believe, he said over $100,000 for his Cybertruck, and he's only had it for 6 months. But for whatever reason, he doesn't want to keep it, which we're seeing from a lot of consumers that get these Cybertrucks. Yeah, okay, the thrill was there when you first got it, really cool. It's a big tank that looks like a refrigerator, and it's electric, right? So lots of cool points to the Cybertruck. It's kind of not kind of, it's very, very ugly. So maybe these owners are starting to see it in person and they're like, ugh, this is gross. But anyway, that's my personal opinion. I know there's a lot of people out there that love the look of the Cybertruck. I don't happen to be one of them. Anyway, Craig bought this truck. He paid over $100,000, I believe he said, and then he sent it to auction. And I think it only brought the first day that he ran it like $82,000. So after 6 months of him driving this truck, taking it to auction, he was going to take about a $20,000 haircut. And I know, see, he was on YouTube, so he can make videos about it, so that he could make a little bit of money from like the ad revenue that he would get from his videos. I've seen some of the other videos that he's had around the Cybertruck, and I can tell you, I mean, he's in a very similar niche to mine. I would assume we make about the same amount on ad revenue per whatever however many views we get. And I can tell you, he has not made up the difference as far as what he's spent on that Cybertruck after what he's would have to sell it for to take that $20,000 loss. So he didn't sell it in this video right here. He ran it the next day, and he ended up actually selling it. And I believe it was $83,000. He tried to get the buyer to come up a little bit, but it just didn't. It just didn't happen. And this is something that's really, it's really hitting a lot of these Tesla owners, and not just Cybertruck. It's the EV market in general. Right now, the largest amount of negative equity for a average consumer right now comes from an EV. So of your ICE vehicles, from your hybrids to your EVs, of those three different types of vehicles, right now the biggest percentage of negative equity that a consumer is going to have is going to come from these EVs, and that's a factor of how much they've dropped in a very short amount of time. Now, I have a Tesla. Don't take this video or hear me responding to this Rev Nation's video as Tesla hate. It's not about that. I'm not anti Tesla. I think they've made some bad decisions. I think pricing was too high, but that's the car market right now. So everything is priced too high. But what you're seeing across the board with EVs is that they've lost so much money so quickly, and that is going to fuel a lot of this negative equity. We see this across the market where you have brands like Ford, Jeep, Ram, Dodge, where manufacturers now are adding a lot of incentives, and that's pushing down the prices on the new vehicles, which also pushes down the prices on the used vehicles. And this is even more so coming from the EV space, because you have Ford with their Mach-E's, where they're taking massive haircuts on these things. Their Ford Lightnings, this is another truck that you're going to see in the EV space. But even with Tesla has done a lot of price cuts over the last year and a half, and it's caused a lot of their vehicle used values to go down. And the other thing is that a lot of people are really scared to buy a used EV. I am not one of them. I have a Model S. That's what I drive every day, and it's got 100,000 miles on it. And I paid 22,000 as a 2019. I paid $22,000 for my Model S. But here's the thing: 4 years ago, that car was right at $100,000. So in 4 years, granted, 100,000 miles later, it has decreased in value by 75%. And if you would go buy a similar type of ICE vehicle, you think like a higher end BMW that car, even with 100,000 miles, is not going to lose 75% of its value in 4 years. It just doesn't happen. So this is one of the big problems with Tesla, with owning a Tesla, with the negative equity surrounding Tesla for its consumers. It's just because prices have dropped, and they've dropped so quickly. And just to go back to these Cybertrucks, you get a scenario like what Craig has experienced, where okay, he paid over $100,000 for this Cybertruck, drove it for 6 months, decided he didn't want it anymore, tried to sell it, and it's only going to bring somewhere around 80 grand. And that's what he had to sell it for to get out of it. So it's an instant $20,000 haircut for someone who thought they really wanted the Cybertruck, but turns out for whatever reason they didn't.
To a guy, and he was saying that he's going to get one of these for about 71,000, and normally it was stickering for over 100. And he was like sitting there working with a Tesla rep on making that deal, and I was just pretty blown away that they're willing to discount it, $30,000. And I wasn't expecting that, that's for sure. They're closing this dealership up, or this showroom up, here soon, and there's a lot of these, that's for sure. Put in the comments what you think about the Cybertruck. Would you buy one of these, or do you think it's just an absolute joke? I don't know. I go back and forth on it. It's a neat concept. I get it. You want to be futuristic, you want to set yourself apart and everything like that. I just felt like it might have been a little too much too soon. They have no other cars here. You can't buy a Model Y, you can't buy a Model 3. There's nothing. Everything is sold. They don't even have a demo car right now.
So I would actually agree with him here. I feel like Tesla really could have knocked the cover off the ball, bringing out an EV truck that actually made sense. The thing about it is there would be, I think there's a market for this. It's just knowing Elon, you got to make the thing look like a spaceship. You got to make it look like I mean it's a big refrigerator. That's what it is. I mean, the metal on it is cool, but you touch it once, you're gonna have fingerprints all over. I see all these Cybertrucks when I see them driving, and they're always filthy. It's got to be a pain in the butt to have to keep these things clean. It's just it's not very functional. And trucks, if you want to take them mass scale, have to be very, very functional. There's also been a video. I didn't pull it up before we got on this thing, but Whistling Diesel put out a video showing how you should not tow. Like, it almost tore the truck in half when he was trying to tow something. And just the way that they put it together, it's like I can get like an engineer put it together, and someone who wanted to make something very, very cool. And it is cool. But if you want to go mass scale with a truck, it's got to be super functional. It's got to be in a lot of cases, it's got to be boring, because trucks, they have to be there to get to work. And I get it. Maybe Tesla was not thinking about this customer when they were trying to make this truck. But the problem is, if you want to get to that next level, if you want to be one of the best selling trucks on the market, then you have to make a truck that mass audience wants to drive. They could have made a regular looking truck. I know Elon would have never signed off on that, but they could have easily made a regular looking truck, got 350 miles of range, and was somewhere around that $50,000 price point that they said that this Cybertruck was going to release at. Whatever happened with that? Okay, well, we opened up at double that. But if they would have been able to do that, then they would have absolutely crushed it. I mean, the Model Y, the Model 3s, they're selling very, very well. They could have added a truck that was appealing to a mass audience, and I think they really could have won in this space if they would have leaned into more regular type of things instead of making the spaceship. But now, what do you have? You got all these Tesla trucks stacked up that nobody wants.
You can't buy a Model Y, you can't buy a Model 3. There's nothing. Everything is sold. They don't even have a demo car right now, I don't believe. So the showroom's totally empty. But look at what you see, man. You've got just tons of these Cybertrucks. It's ridiculous. Oh my God. Holy goodness, folks. Look at that.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that price point, but it did say $121,000. What I want to do is pull up actual Tesla's website. Let's look at this right here. So, if you want to order a Tesla right now, and I hate that they do this, look at this. Include the 5-year estimate gas savings. So Tesla has really prided itself on being really transparent, and they're getting away from dealership model. Dealers are shady, right? That's what we see in the market, and Tesla wants to not do that. So why don't you just put the freaking price on here and not have to click a box to actually see the real price? So if you add in your estimated savings, 5-year gas savings of $5,500, then your price is $74,490. But here's the thing: if someone's paying cash, they need to know what they're paying, right? So I mean, it's so stupid that you have to check that box. Dealers are shady. I get it. That feels kind of shady to me. I get it. The box is right there, but if you want to have a brand that is wanting to lean into transparency when they're selling vehicles, then just put the price on. I mean, don't try to trick people with anything. So you got your all wheel drive model, which 4.1 seconds, 0 to 60. That's amazing. Towing, we've already talked about towing. You should not be towing with your Cybertruck. The way that they set it up, you could tear the thing in half. But you have your Cyber Beast down here that is $99,000, and I wonder. I'm guessing that this package that, and it says the total price is $103,000. So I'm guessing that this package that this Rev Nation guy is talking about is one that they've built in. They've added the premium wheels, premium rims, and then that's how it got to that 21,000. That's probably one of your top end builds that you're going to get. Maybe they went ahead and paid the full amount for the self-driving things like that, but just your starting price on the Cyber Beast, which I'm assuming that was one of, is that $99,990, $100,000 for this truck. And you see the problems. The problems are, okay, people are turning down orders. They're not willing to go forward with them, and this is going to be a problem that Tesla is going to have to figure out. Because I'm assuming, and this takes me back to like Ford Lightnings. Ford had this massive order book of all these people that wanted these Ford Lightnings, and they produced them, and then it turned out that, okay, the people who were going to buy them bought them right in the beginning, and then there weren't any buyers left after that. And I wonder if Tesla is going to face a similar fate. I know, completely different company, but I wonder if it's going to be a aspect of, okay, the people that wanted this big ugly refrigerator and wanted to pay that amount for this big ugly refrigerator, they were the first ones to buy, and then Tesla got a little bit more of the production into the hands of these distribution centers, or be able to actually ship out orders. And then we had another wave of people that bought, and then now we start seeing them around. Maybe the newness, the coolness of it is kind of worn off, and then all those customers who were going to buy, they've already bought, and there's just no one left there. And that might be what we're seeing right now in this video.
Yeah, you can see that the vast majority of these are all cyber beasts, and people probably getting cold feet. So I believe the Cybertruck, I'll put the range figures and everything up on.
So that's interesting right there. The one that the orders that got turned down, it looks like the most are all the Cyber Beasts. So these are the more expensive trucks. So this is going to be difficult for Tesla to swallow this pill, if they have a lot of these trucks that were supposed to be put in customers' hands for $120,000, and now a lot of these consumers are just turning this down. And this is going to be an interesting thing for us to pay attention to as time goes on, and we see deliveries from Tesla, because I would like to see it broke out to see, okay, if deliveries actually go down for the Cybertrucks, not because that Tesla can't get the deliveries out, because we know that's not the case right now. I mean, we see them stacked up right here in this video. But if it's a case of demand going down where people just stop ordering them. And I also would like to know if it's an element of price point, if it's an element of EVs, the amount of people that are buying EVs is slowing down, or is it product like the actual Cybertruck where people just aren't wanting to buy that particular EV. And it's there's going to be three elements that are going to be in play, and I'm very interested to see how this plays out and how much inventory Tesla is going to start to stack up with before we see some price cuts, which I would assume, if this is happening and it's happening across the country, it's probably not going to be too far from seeing a Cybertruck price cut.